Hi, this is Tom Mura from World Class Coaching with another in our series of animated drills. This is an exercise that I got from the SuperCoach app. If you haven't seen that app or heard about it, I've talked about it on a previous podcast. And it's just a great setup, and it gets a lot of things done within one basic setup, and there's lots of progressions you can do off of this. Basically, we have an area that's about a 10 by 15, and we have two cones in the center, and then one cone on each of the corners. And you can do this without the lines. You don't necessarily need the lines. I just think it paints a better picture of it, so I included them here. This is something that I've often done with my players, having two lines across from each other with two cones in the middle, and the players dribbling in toward the middle, performing a fake or action, and then dribbling past those cones and going to the end of the line. Then I'll progress it by moving the cones together into one cone, and then I'll further progress it by removing the cones altogether where the players have to react to one another. Well, this just adds an extra element that I really like, and that's where the player dribbles their ball out to a cone on one side or the other. For this first example, I'll show where we're dribbling out to the right. And so basically, we've got the player dribbling their ball out to the right, performing a change of direction move, which I'll talk about more in a minute, then dribbling back to the center before turning again, and then dribbling out into the middle where they perform a fake at this cone, and then dribbling out to the end where they perform another change of direction move, and then finally joining the end of the line or going behind the one player here. Now, the way I like to do this is having four players because the rest periods are shorter and they've got lots of action and lots of touches. You can do it with a line of three or four. You just have to kind of count on more of a wait time in between. And if you're talking about a higher intensity activity where the players are really going fast, where you're focusing on the speed of it, maybe having three or four players in the line makes sense. If you're focusing more on the technique, then having more repetitions and less rest time makes sense because you're not having the players go at as high of an intensity, but you're really focusing on the technique. What I like about doing this is that you can focus on different actions with each of the turns. So dribbling out here, I would have the player perform some kind of a change of direction move where it's a lateral change of direction, where we're going side to side, something like a chop, or you could do a bob move that I've talked about in the past, where you place the closest foot to the cone on the ball to stop it, and then you turn your body and play away with the outside of the other foot. So in this example, the player would dribble out, stop the ball with their right foot, hop over the ball and play it away with their left foot, bringing them back toward the center. Then when they get back to the center, you could do some kind of a turn like a Cruyff turn or an outside of the foot turn, something different here, before the player then turns their body, swivels their body, and goes back toward the center. Now here we're talking about a move to beat a player, something like a scissors or a Matthews. And we're then performing that move and playing away, in this example, with the right foot, going into this corner, and then performing, you could even do this as a turn move, kind of like we did down here, where we did some kind of a swivel or a spinning move to avoid the pressure, something like the player using the outside of their right foot. So if you can imagine this player dribbling into this corner, and then with the outside of their right foot, putting their body between the ball and the cone, basically the defender in this action, and then using the outside of their foot to turn and join the end of that line. So you could do this where the players are performing basically the same move here and then here, but they have a different action here where it's like a lateral change of direction, and then the action here is a move to beat a player. Now, all while that's happening, obviously the player in the opposite line is performing that same pattern, dribbling out, dribbling back, coming back out to the middle to perform a fake, ending up in the corner before ending at the end of the line. So this pattern, can be continually repeated with the focus being on the technical actions or the physical speed, depending on what you're looking to achieve from the activity. But then obviously you would do this entire thing to the other side so that you're performing the actions with different feet. You could remove the cones, as I've done in the past, where you force the players to react to one another which obviously forces them to react to a moving defender as they would in the game, rather than a stationary object like a cone. So this is an activity I really like, just because there's different ways to scale it and different things that you can do. You could have this player act as a defender as the player comes back toward the middle, and so they serve as kind of a mannequin, as a passive defender that the dribbler reacts to before moving to the center, and then reacts to the player that's dribbling at them as well. So there's just lots that you can do with this. So I really like the setup, and I like the realism of the actions as well. So give that a try with your team and let us know how it goes.